Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace, mercy, and blessing be on you all. The topic before me, as we've heard, is working together for justice and peace. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Contemporary Nigerian history is replete with gory tales of conflicts of varying dimensions. Most of these conflicts have their roots in the refusal of individuals within the geopolitical entity to acknowledge the reality of and relate positively with the other. Unlike what obtains in developed societies, identities of Nigerians have generally been defined by ethnicity and religion. Because of poor socio-political consciousness in the majority, they tend to seek the authentication of individual identity through the evocation of ethno-religious affiliations. Though ethnicity and religion are not necessarily bad as markers of identity, they are very vulnerable. They are very vulnerable in the hands of mischief makers and warmongers. In a multi-ethnic and multi-religious country like Nigeria, ethno-religious exclusivism can turn the social space into theaters of savagery. This has led to many ethno-cultural groups and their affiliated militias like OPC, Bakassi Boys, Egbesu Boys, Ijaw Youth Congress, Igbo People Congress, Arewa People Congress, Ohaneze Indigbo, and Masop, to mention a few of them. Religion, as at independence, was not a divisive social identity marker in Nigeria. Some of us can still not forget the eternal lyric, like the Excellency just quoted to us. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigeria, are proud to serve a sovereign motherland. Religion and politics were later used to manipulate the lower qualities of men, to create ideological exclusivism and theologies of the eighth, and brotherhood we no longer stand. There is therefore a dire need for taking adequate steps to salvage the situation. I must say that Nirec has indeed diagnosed the problem correctly by insisting that justice and peace are the remedies, and we must all work together to attain them. Engaging the other. Increase in migration between communities and nations has imposed upon us the indispensability of relating with people who are different from us. These people, often referred to as the other, are as many there are human beings on this plane of existence. Writing in the 1960s, Martin Luther King Jr. painted the image of what he called the world house. This is the great new problem of mankind. We have inherited a large house, a great world house, in which we have to live together, black and white, Eastern and Westerner, Gentile and Jew, Catholic and Protestant, Muslim and Hindu. A family unduly separated by ideas, culture and interest, who, because we can never again live apart, we must somehow learn to live with each other in peace. This declaration at the time of Martin Luther King must have sounded strange because the world had not become as complex and diversified as today. He was obviously thinking globally while observing the changes taking place in American society in his days. Justice and peace, cordial or discordant consorts. The second stanza of our national anthem ends with a prayer that God should enable us to build a nation where peace and justice reign. The clamor for peace and justice is a global phenomenon. There had been several debates, the main thrust of which is whether or not peace or justice should take precedence over each other, and if so, why? I posit in this lecture that the dichotomous debate of peace versus justice is based on false premise, which has its root in a parochial and myopic understanding of both concepts. I argue that peace has a deeper semantic tenor than just the cessation of immediate violence as it is commonly proposed, while justice is wider in its connotations than the common practice of limiting it to retributive terms. I believe that justice should be seen as a necessary requirement and fundamental steps towards the attainment of sustainable peace. I insist that the relationship between the two concepts is such of conceptual interdependence and not mutual exclusive. Since thus our search for peace should be driven by concerted effort towards the enthronement of justice in all ramifications. Justice and peace in Islam. Peace and justice, according to Zaid Shakil, are joined in slogans of many American activists in the United States. No justice, no peace. This linkage is logical, as justice must be considered one of the indispensable prerequisites of any lasting peace. The main thrust of Islam is to introduce into the world an ethos that facilitates peace between man and his creator and fellow humans. I repeat, the main thrust of Islam is to introduce into the world an ethos that facilitates peace between man and his creator and fellow humans. It sees peace as the original state created by Allah and the pristine order designed for mankind. Its most primary form begins with the prophetic declaration, spread peace between yourselves. In a similar narration, he said, you will not enter paradise until you believe, and you will not believe until you love one another. Shall I teach to you something that will make you love one another? Spread greeting and spirit of peace between yourselves. Spread greeting and spirit of peace between yourselves. It is this insistence on peace that lies at the root of social injustice in Islam. Injunction on good neighborliness, charity, and social welfare are all directed at establishing peace through positive actions that dissuades from criminality, delinquency, and vices. Even in war situations, it is mandatory for Muslims to incline towards peace. Allah says, if they, the enemy, incline towards peace, then you should similarly incline and place your trust in Allah. Quran 8:61. The concept of justice, on the other hand, is the essential pillar in the maintenance of both natural and social orders. It is the foundation of a healthy and social order. Allah says, "O you who believe, be upright for God, witness to justice, and do not let your hatred of a people move you to a position where you are unjust. Be just, that is closer to piety. Aidilu huwa akrabu taqwa." Be mindful of God, verily Allah is well informed concerning all that you do. Quran chapter 4 verse 135. Al-Mawardi and Ibn Taymiyyah have argued that the responsibilities of government are captured in a single verse in the Quran. Thus, surely God enjoins that you deliver the trust to their rightful possessor, and when you rule over or judge between people, that you do so with justice. Quran 4:58. It was in this light that Ibn Taymiyyah declared that Allah's grace is with the just nation, even if it is filled with infidels, while his wrath is upon the unjust nation, even if it is filled with believers. Though unjust situation can bring forth a deceptive semblance of peace for a while, true, wholesome, and total peace, which is sustainable, is unattainable without justice. Every Muslim must therefore take a stand for justice as directed in the Quran. This is inspired by the Quran and the words and deeds of our illustrious Prophet Muhammad, as shown in the Medina Charter, which embodied a true interfaith collaboration for common good. Since what our nation sorely needs at this time is enthronement of justice in order to achieve lasting peace, we must all rise up to work together for this lofty purpose. After all, If an invasion were to come from another planet, we will all, regardless of our faith, tradition, or ethnic affiliation, rise up to defend it. What rightly comes to my mind is COVID-19. I'm sure our permanent secretary mentioned it, we all had the other time, and several other calamities. Conclusion, this prospect of an interfaith collaboration to achieve justice and peace will be promising if we are truly committed to it. However, it is pertinent to note that we have lived too long in mutual suspicion and distrust that an amount of skepticism is invoked when talking about interfaith engagements. One good news is that we have, at the level of Nirec, scored some points in this regard in the past, though there are rooms for improvement. Our approach to dialogue is, in order to achieve justice and peace, must be committed to going beyond mere collaboration to experiencing the other by understanding him and his world from within. This will remove the distrust that often characterizes our coexistence. The disgraceful wranglings we had over the use of hijab and other similar issues will then truly become a thing of the past. We can then wholeheartedly, jointly strive for elimination of all forms of discrimination, protection of human rights, equitable, balanced, human and sustainable development, protection of the environment, and the integration of spiritual and traditional humanistic values, as well as an appreciation of each other's differences, thereby developing mutual respect and tolerance with stronger intercultural relationships, leading to the realization of a sustained national peace ethic. I thank you all for listening. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala.